Ngugi is a Kenyan writer born in Kameretu near Limuru in Kiambu district, Kenya. He has formerly worked in English and is now working in Gikuyu. He received his BA in English from Makerere University College in Kampala in 1963, and during his education, a play of his, The Black Hermit, was produced in Kampala in 1962. Ngugi published his first novel, Weep Not Child, in 1964, which he wrote while attending the University of Leeds in England and which recounted the Mau Mau rebellion. He is particularly interested in preserving native African languages, and in 1977 he wrote and directed a play, Hakika Dinda. His play became so popular among the natives that the government, fearing that it would result in political dissent, banned the play and imprisoned him. Ngugi's famous books include Weep Not Child, which was published in 1964, The River Between 1965, A Grain of Wheat 1967, Petals of Blood 1977, and Wizard of the Crow 2006. His later works include Decolonizing the Mind, The Politics of Language in African Literature, which was published in 1986, which is an essay arguing for African writers' expression in their native languages rather than European languages. His most recent works are Something Torn and New, An African Renaissance, which is a collection of essays published in 2009, and two autobiographical works, Dreams in a Time of War, a childhood memoir, published in 2010, and In the House of the Interpreter, a memoir, published in 2012. His awards and honors include Lotus Prize for Literature in 1973, nomination for the Man Booker International Prize, and the 2012 National Book Critics Circle Award for his book In the House of the Interpreter. In this picture, Ngugi is signing copies of his book Wizard of the Crow at the Congress Centre in central London. Wizard was his first book in 20 years, following 22 years of exile due to his political work. Colonial system in Kenya rewarded Kenyan children for becoming fluent in British English and not in the tribal languages. It was language which held their culture, their values, and hence their minds captive. Their own history and culture was thrown into the rubbish while they were imposed with a new culture. Lugard, a soldier turned administrator, called this practice as indirect rule. In Africa, the mastery of a person in English language was considered as a measure of his readiness to join the band of elect. Children were punished if they were caught speaking African languages. They were made to believe that English language was the bearer of all knowledge in arts and sciences, and they were made to believe that they can only develop if they take English as their first language, and that it was the language spoken by God. Africa actually enriches Europe, but Africa is made to believe that it needs Europe to rescue it. The encounter between English and most so-called third languages did not occur under conditions of independence and equality. English, French, and Portuguese came to the Third World to announce the arrival of the Bible and the sword. They came clamoring for gold, black gold in chains, or gold that shines as sweat in factories and plantations. It was the gun which made possible the mining of gold and affected the political captivity of the owners, and language which held captive their cultures, their values, and hence their mind. Oppressed people must learn to use their own languages, not just the oppressors. According to the author, there are two aspects of language. The first aspect is the basic need of people to communicate with each other, express their views and ideas in their bid to survive. The second aspect is the role that language plays as a carrier of history of the past generation and the culture built into the process of that communication over time. When two languages meet each other, the dominance of one aspect over the other depends upon the surrounding in which the two languages are meeting. For example, if the languages are meeting in terms of equity or trade, they stress the need of using other parties' language in order to ease the communication during their business with each other. But when they try to meet in the form of an oppressor and oppressed, they try and impose their own language on the other party so as to assert their dominance and try to elevate other people's opinions about their own language at the same time. The author credits the urban and rural masses as the major force who refused to surrender completely in the political and economical spheres, which prevented their native language to get completely swallowed by English. The author argues that a common language for the world in which all the nations can communicate with each other would be ideal, but that language should not be planted in the graveyard of another one. He says that the lives of many languages should add life to whichever language emerges as the common language, instead of many languages dying for one. The absolute independence of all nations in political and cultural spheres is the proper foundation required for the emergence and the universal acceptance of a language for the world. The poet also wishes for the art of the translation and interpretation to be an integral part of the curriculum in schools and wants every person in this world to master at least 3 languages found all around the globe. When there is real economic, political and cultural equality between nations, there will be no reason for any nation, nationality or people to fear the emergence of a common language. Lastly, Gugi argues that the Kiswahili language would make a credible candidate for the world language as it hasn't been grown in any other language graveyard, has never shown any national chauvinism, nor it has any history of oppression and domination of any other culture, unlike English which has created a very negative image about itself in that respect. And if it became a world language, it will be the dawn of a new era of mankind. Thank you everyone.